I did send out some materials that describe the project that we're working on. The city did receive a $250,000 grant from the Community Development Block Grant. So I would like to write a matching grant to that to get an additional $250,000 to make this a $500,000 project. And keep in mind, this is no taxpayer dollars involved, city taxpayer dollars.
I'm trying to find your notes that you guys sent something out. I'm searching your name here.
I think Dahlia sent them.
Oh, Dahlia.
Oh, I can send them. I can try to find them.
All right.
If I can switch computers here really quick. Sorry, guys. We had to leave City Hall, so very quickly, we're now working from home. Let me log into my other computer.
I will forward it to you. I found it.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay, so I'll go over the project narrative. This is a ADA and safety upgrade project at Water Tower Park. When you read through the project description, it does show that Water Tower is an environmental justice area. It also has a high population of Hispanic, African Americans, and low income residents, and that's why it qualified for the CDBG grant. The grant that I will be applying for is through the DNR Land and Water Conservation Fund. Michigan City has been awarded a grant from them in the past for Hanson Park and the trail that leads between Hanson and then the acquisition of Winding Creek Cove. So we've already done a successful project with them, so I think we have a really good chance of getting the second grant. So the input I'm looking for, there's a survey. The survey's very brief. I've done some research on surveys, and the park department has just put out these 11-page surveys, and no one answers them. So I worked with the National Park and Rec Association to come up with a very small survey to kind of glean the information I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is, how do people get to Water Tower Park? Do they walk? Do they take public transportation? Do they bike? Because that tells us what type of facilities we need as far as bike rack, parking lots. One of the questions is, does anyone in your household have a disability? This is very important to me personally because I would like this to be Michigan City's first fully inclusive park, which is not just ADA accessible, but also addresses children that have, for instance, cochlear implants. They cannot go down plastic slides. It builds static in their device. They have to go back to an audiologist to get it reset. So it's a very simple change to the playground, but people don't realize, I know many children that have these cochlear implants. They can't go down a slide.
Wow.
So we need to address that. I'd like to address some of the playground features for children with autism. So a lot of them need to have separate play areas where there's not a lot of commotion and light and noise. So there's playground features. One of them that I like is called a play pod. So they actually get in this pod. They're kind of enclosed. They feel safe inside there, and it rocks. So things of that nature. I'd like to incorporate some play panels for children that are blind or partially blind. So those are tactile panels that make music and just have different feels to them. So they actually get to play with the other children, even though maybe not on the same level, but they're still together. They're inclusive. All these kids are together.
Right.
So that's my intent of getting this extra money, is to make this probably the county's first all-inclusive playground. So tonight what I'm asking you for are your comments. I'm going to make a few myself. I went out to the park last year, and the basics of the $250,000 grant included moving the existing play equipment into the tennis courts, which haven't been usable in, I don't know, over a decade, probably 2 decades. The reason for this is if I don't have to pour a new concrete pad to put the ADA rubber surfacing down, that's going to save about $60,000 to $70,000, which gives us money to buy all these extra features. So we would move the existing playset, add a shelter with a grill, a drinking fountain, a parking lot it's not off street. It would be in the park, and it would be a green parking lot, Dahlia, a permeable parking lot for water quality, and it would provide 8 parking spaces, regular parking spaces, and 4 ADA parking spaces. So currently there's no ADA parking, and it's all street parking. So I think that's important that we at least provide the ADA. We have to. The last item, from talking to some neighbors, they don't like where the basketball courts are. They're kind of in the back corner. Let's see, that would be the southwest corner of the park, and they're next to a home.
It's what, Shaman?
The basketball courts are in the southwest corner of the park. It's kind of a dark area of the park and next to a home.
Oh, okay.
So we get a lot of complaints that cars drive back there, they use their headlights to play basketball at night, and it's just a big party spot.
You got the grill around it.
Yeah, there's drug paraphernalia and alcohol bottles and cans and broken glass. So if we get the grant, we would have enough of a budget to move the basketball courts to another area, away from the homeowner, where it's more visible from the street, for policing. So that was the basic idea. If we get the 250, I guess, what is it that you guys want to see? What do you think about the materials that I presented as far as moving things around? What is the survey missing before it goes out public?
Okay, I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
So where the basketball courts are right now, you're going to pour new concrete somewhere else in the park, closer to the street, right?
Correct.
And what's going to happen with that area then? What can we possibly use that area for?
Green space.
Possibly raised gardens or something, maybe?
It's pretty shady back there, Dahlia. We could include a community garden in this project, absolutely.
I'm just wondering, like, it's empty space. What could be quieter and better to do in that corner than that? Or, I don't know if you've seen these at Botanic Gardens. They have for little kids, like, they're almost like pretend planting. Like, they have shovels you could dig and whatever and kind of pretend you're planting plants, so you're really not even necessarily planting them. It's like kind of it's also very tactile. So maybe there's some kind of a little installation we could do in that corner as well. And like, so this whole project, the way you have written up, is it the $500,000, you think?
Yeah, so I think we have a very good opportunity to get this grant award.
Okay.
So my intention for that corner, Dahlia, was to take the courts out and just turn that into a natural green space area.
And leave it alone.
Because it's so close to the homeowners.
Right.
So move everybody away from the homeowners. There's a lot of trees there. So it's a nice shady spot for kids to play and hang out with no play equipment, just on their own.
Yep.
Benches, maybe?
Yeah, even a small shelter wouldn't be bad back in that area. I'm just trying to move, even a shelter though, like at night. Are they just going to return there and use it to
Right. Right.
I would just leave that corner empty. Don't give anybody the opportunity or the invitation to come back to that corner and hang out, drink, drugs, whatever's going on back there. and that way that you're not gonna get the complaints from the neighbors. Yeah, so, just leave that alone, leave it green space and, inviting. If you just wanna go back there and sit, fine. Yeah, but everything that you've described so far, Shannon, and especially talking for the, I'm not gonna say disabled, but, for the ADA, especially like with the hearing, I never even heard of that issue before, that children with cochlear implants, that they can't go down slides and that, and especially because I'm getting more sensitive to that because, I wear hearing aids, so, I'm paying more and more attention to that whole world. And yeah, I think that's great. And for the autistic children, I think that's great. So yeah, I approve 100% of what you're saying so far.
Great.
Now,
Shannon.
who's that?
Oh, I'm sorry, this is Ed Shin. I just want to say that Shannon, you put this together very well with all people in mind. For as far as that green space, Dahlia had a nice idea, and Don was correct about leaving it as a green space. Maybe I would like to see, there are baseball fields there, Shannon?
Correct. So there's two baseball fields that exist now. The East baseball field would remain with repairs to the fencing and the benches, and that would stay as a sandlot field for the kids in the neighborhood to play ball on or frisbee or whatever they'd like. The center baseball field would be removed, and that would be the parking area.
Yeah.
I see. I know that it's difficult to change the name of the park, but someday I may suggest that I would like to see the baseball fields be named after Henry Aaron.
Yeah, that's a possibility. And I'm actually not opposed to renaming this park at all because it's called Water Tower Park. So if anyone has, some ideas to honor somebody great from Michigan City, that would be a perfect time to rename it.
I think maybe that memorial might look good in the green space if that's feasible. Just a thought.
I'm not ignoring you, Ed. I'm writing it down because I need the minutes for the grant.
But I think you put that together so well, Shannon, and it makes my heart soar like an eagle that you not only procure the money, but you sure keep everybody in mind. Did I even see that you have a trail around the perimeter?
So that's one of the questions on the survey. There probably will be enough money to put some type of a walking trail in. So if that's what the neighbors want. And just so you guys know, when we approach a playground project, this will be our 7th in 7 years that we've completed for ADA and safety. We will start with stakeholder meetings. So that's you good folks here tonight. We'll talk to you. I'll have a meeting with the mayor and his staff. I've reached out to the police chiefs for the safety issues of, do you want lighting? Where do you want things moved around? And then it will go into a public input process. That would be at least 2 public meetings. One will be at Memorial Hall at the end of March, and I'll have you guys on that list. And then we'll do a second in the park itself. So,
Shannon,
yes?
are we talking about reaching all the way out to Risky? But it use all the way out to Risky?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I will probably reach out to the entire Eastport neighborhood because it's, within biking and walking distance of a lot of the Eastport neighborhood.
Right.
So then we will have a public outreach session at the park itself where we invite the neighbors in to come look at the park, fill out surveys. I typically put a banner up about 3 weeks before the meeting on the park grounds so all the neighbors see it. And then finally we do a survey process, which is online, paper, people can email it to me. So we absolutely do our due diligence on public input, no matter where the money comes from, but it is a grant requirement.
And Shannon, as far as the responses and the surveys and the meetings and with the stakeholders and the neighbors, and I mean, how good of a response do you generally get out of doing all that work? I mean, what, 20 people show up, you get 20 responses, 15 responses. I'm just curious.
It really depends on the neighborhoods. So the last park wide, the entire park department, 5-year master plan, had 74 surveys from the entire city over a year. When we did a master plan for Pullman Park that we rehabbed, we had more than that. So that neighborhood just really responded. We had public outreach at the park. People showed up. The church that's on 4th Street invited us to hold a meeting there. We had 25 people. And there were just some leaders in that neighborhood that helped get the surveys out. So that was successful. The Adams Park neighborhood, same thing. We had a couple community leaders that had ties. So we actually get more response to the neighborhood park projects than we do to the entire master plan for the whole park system. And Anthony, you can attest to that.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, I remember the Pullman Park redo, and we renamed that Herman Wilson Court and that. And that really came from over at somebody out of the church, New Hope Church, Tina Mahomes, that come up with about 200 surveys or something like that.
Right?
Yeah.
And that was a great ribbon cutting party too.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a great neighborhood involved in their park. And so I expect we'll get a lot of attention from this park because it's going to have a regional draw, which is good for Michigan City. If you have people coming in from all over the county because they have a disabled child that can't play somewhere else, I think it's good for everybody. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I'm looking, just, this is the park I grew up in playing ball. Yeah, Shannon, this is the reason why I'm going to have hip replacements. Play on that court. Playing on that court right there. And I'm looking at
you.
And I'm looking at the outlet, and we had the baseball diamonds. We're not looking at baseball diamonds again, are we? Or
just some minor repairs to the fencing. I mean, I want everything in the park, updated. I'd like some nice entry signage, all depending on if we get the second grant.
Right.
But I want to keep, a sand lot for the kids. It won't be programmed, but
right, exactly.
They can still walk over and have their pickup games. And that area is big enough for, Frisbee, soccer.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this park, if we get the $500,000, will offer something for everyone. Whether it's, walking trail, basketball, the play equipment, the quiet space on the west side that's just shaded and natural, just a place to hang out, a passive area.
Yeah, Shannon, and talking about that baseball field, and I think it's left field, right, that runs along Risky Ave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's got that 4-foot fence. I mean, I never see any kids out there playing baseball, so I don't know if they use that or not. But do you think that fence should be higher than 4 feet? Maybe 6 feet fence or an 8-foot fence in left field, so the ball doesn't go out into Risky Ave where these kids got to run out in the street to get the ball.
Yeah, we'd have to take a look at that. That's a good point. Because I think it's 6 foot. It's got a backstop and it's 6 foot inside the park, but not on Risky.
Yeah. I don't know. I've driven past it and I look at that little fence and, I'm thinking, well, if somebody can hit it over the fence, it's going out in the street.
Right.
Because the street's right over the edge of the hill, I think. Yeah, I mean, just something to look at. Safety issues.
So the other comment that I got from a resident was lighting. There's, well, actually a couple residents. Some of them want lighting, some of them don't.
Ooh.
My concern with lighting is the long-term cost. I'm really curious to see what the police have to say about it. They're the experts as far as neighborhood safety. But I honestly don't really want to spend money on lighting. Because then you're adding that to your budget every month. You know, there's a cost.
I'd rather see it go into the ground, the amenities of the park as well.
You know,
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah. I don't think we should light it up for night use, but maybe some motion detecting lights for just a little bit of security there. Just if someone's walking by, it goes on for a few minutes and it goes off. Maybe the police would like that. I don't know. It's up to the police, really.
Okay. No, I'll bring that up to him. That's a good point. So Dahlia sent this out to you. All of you have gotten a survey, so you know, please distribute this widely. I will let you know when the first public meeting is scheduled at Memorial Hall for March 31st at 6 p.m. And then I'll reach out to the whole council when I get a date set for doing public input at the park itself, which is really cool. Like, if you guys have time, that's the time to be council members and come out and talk to your constituents on site. You really will get more of a feel of what they want than looking at what they write on a paper survey.
Okay.
So we've been really successful with that.
What day's that?
March 31st at 6 p.m.
All right.
is at Memorial Hall.
Yep.
But
Okay.
following that, once the weather warms up, we'll be having one at Water Tower Park where people can
Yeah.
actually walk around and look at it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. All right. Any other comments, questions?
No, I think it's a good project moving forward. So, and thanks for doing the hard late work on this thing.
Yeah, nice work, Shannon. That's going to be a nice park.
Yep.
What I enjoy most about my job,
Good.
grants and projects.
Good.
All right, guys, appreciate your time.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
Okay.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Have a good night.
Project. Great
All right.
project.
Thank you.